We're in session. Morning, folks. Appreciate you being here, and we're ready to proceed now. Sergeant Latour, come on back, please, if you would. Just have a seat, and prosecutors may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sergeant Latour, where we left off yesterday, I believe you were talking about the three different interviews that you conducted with Karen Berry.
Yes, sir.
Could you characterize for the jury how the specificity of the information that she provided you changed between the first, second, and third interview?
It went from generalized at the beginning into very specific. In the final interview, I basically walk her through a timeline of when things are said, where they're said, and who they're said by, and systematically go down it so that both Karen and I are both clear that I'm understanding what she's trying to communicate to me.
And she confirmed with you that this conversation between Amanda, the defendant, and Karen that occurred on that Tuesday morning, July 19th, occurred outside by the swing?
It did.
And she mentioned to you that statement that Laura allegedly told Amanda, you've taken my boys from me, now I'm going to take your baby from you.
Correct.
And then the rest of that conversation led to the septic tank and across the street, and at some point Amanda and Graham went to Home Depot.
Correct.
After you finished speaking with Karen that evening, did you, I guess at some point in your investigation, did you speak with Dalton, Karen's youngest son?
I spoke to Dalton on at least 2 different occasions.
Did you speak to Shelton?
I did.
And at any point, did you have any information about anyone's phone being used to call 911?
Objection.
Overall, he certainly can.
Never.
No one ever mentioned anything about anyone dialing 911?
No, sir.
After you finished with the interview with Karen, and to be clear, this is on Monday, July 25th, is that correct?
Correct.
And this is the third interview that's at the lawyer's office?
Yes, sir.
Did you also speak with Candace, who previously testified?
Yes, sir.
After you concluded those interviews, the next day on July 26th, did you go to the autopsy in Galveston where the first remains were being examined?
On the 26th would have been the second remains. So this would have been on the 26th is my second visit to the medical examiner's office in Galveston.
And that's the time that the first autopsy was on that Monday, and that was the one number 273. The second autopsy was on that Tuesday, and it was the one number 280.
Correct.
After you had gone to Galveston to, I guess, what's the purpose of you going to watch an autopsy?
Just to observe it to see if there's any evidence that I see at the autopsy that will be useful in interviews, to give my request to a medical examiner of things that I was looking for, things that I talked to Dr. Radish about that we were looking for the medical examiner in Galveston to perform for us so that we would be able to preserve evidence for later review here in North Carolina.
After you had gone to Galveston on that Tuesday, July 26th, did you end up talking to Raymond Boyer and tracking down some of the information from U-Haul? I'm sorry, from Home Depot.
I did.
And Mr. Boyer is the gentleman who interacted with Grant Hayes, who was trying to buy acid.
Correct.
And did you also acquire the video from that Home Depot?
I did.
Later that day, on that Tuesday was the scene finally released back to Karen Berry and her family, and police officers vacated that scene?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And actually later that day, did you help Karen put some no trespassing signs up?
I did.
And at that point, was there a lot of media in the area?
Numerous media trucks.
After After that, did more Raleigh police officers end up coming to Texas to meet you in Texas?
It was that night on the 27th they arrived. It was Sergeant Prevatelli and Detective Goodwin.
And with those other Raleigh Police Department members, did you do further investigation in this case and tracking down financial information down there in Texas?
Correct.
And you spoke to another individual at Home Depot who also had some interaction with Grant Hayes.
Yes, woman.
And that was the person who passed Grant Hayes off to Raymond Boyer, who talked with Mr. Hayes about the acid.
Correct.
At some point, did you go and purchase dry ice?
I did.
And what was the purpose of that?
To preserve the evidence that we were taking back to Raleigh.
And to be clear, the body remains, those were flown back to here to Raleigh.
Correct, at a later date.
And you needed dry ice to preserve some other evidence that was of a biological nature.
Correct.
Eventually, on July 30th, did you leave from Texas to come back to Raleigh?
Yes, sir.
And at some point that day, did Detective Brad Richard from the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office give you the evidence that had been acquired during the investigation of this case?
At about 5:45 in the morning on July the 30th.
And did he pass custody of that evidence over to Detective Gill?
Yes, sir.
And what did y'all do with that evidence when you acquired it from the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office?
We stored it in a U-Haul truck that we rented. So Sergeant Prevatelli and Detective Goodwin drove a U-Haul truck, large box truck, and Detective Gill and I transported the U-Haul trailer itself that the defendant and her husband had taken out to Texas. That's what we brought back.
And I guess, how did the boat make it back to North Carolina?
We put it inside the box truck.
And all this evidence that was acquired that has been presented in this courtroom came back from Texas to North Carolina via you Raleigh police officers.
Driving it back, correct.
And what time did you get back to North Carolina?
We arrived at the police station on Front Street at 1:45 in the morning on July the 31st.
And the items that were preserved by the dry ice, what did you do with those?
Took them directly downtown to our main evidence unit on Cabarrus Street and put them directly in a cooler.
And the other items of evidence, did those also go to that police facility on Cabarrus Street?
The other items went to the facility on Front Street originally where we packaged it, and then it got taken down to Cabarrus Street.
On August 2nd, was there another search warrant executed into Grant and Amanda's apartment after the discovery of an owner's manual for a reciprocating saw?
I believe it was during the execution of that search warrant that the owner's manual for a reciprocating saw was found
Okay.
by Detective Falk, who notified me of that.
And with that information, did you learn what kind of model saw it was?
Yes.
And what did you do with that information?
Started searching any of the retailers in this area that would sell. It's a model 9205 reciprocating saw made by Skill. One of the ones that I found was Walmart. I knew that there are a couple of Walmarts near where the defendant and her husband lived, so I started calling them.
And what information did you acquire after you contacted these folks at Walmart?
I spoke with Michelle Socks, and we determined that I told her to search dates between July 13th and the 16th. We found a purchase that was made on July the 14th at 2:32 in the morning, and the individual paid in cash. Michelle advised me that the sale consisted of trash bags, sheeting tarp, gloves, the skill saw that I was referring to, and goggles. And I asked her to go ahead and pull that video, which she did. She was already familiar with what Grant Hayes looked like from media and our previous encounters with her. She works at several different Walmarts and does loss prevention for them. And Michelle confirmed to me that it was Grant Hayes that was making those purchases. So I asked her to go ahead and burn me a copy of that, and we would get her court order for it, which I did the following day on August the 3rd.
And when you got that video, it's been presented here to this jury. It displays Grant Hayes purchasing those items.
Yes, it does.
also were able to get the receipt or find out exactly what was purchased, and you put that in your report as well.
Correct. I got the receipt and then went and confirmed that each of these items were actually sold by Walmart and where they were located in the store.
And you mentioned that the goggles that were purchased, what kind of plastic tarp was purchased?
As listed as a Husky 4 mil clear plastic tarp, 9 feet by 12 feet, and there were 108 total square
You've
feet
earned a
in the roll.
Valencia lifestyle.
108 square feet.
Correct.
And you mentioned some of the other items that were purchased. At that time, did you make contact with Susan Dufour, who's previously testified?
Yes, she was the night manager. I talked to her on the phone originally.
After you'd spoken with Susan Dufour, did you contact the medical examiners in Texas and hear more about this acid
Yes,
and the effect that they had observed of acid on Laura Ackerson's skull?
yes,
And part of that was Dr. Stimson, who previously testified, the dentist, noted that acid etching. Or did you just talk to Dr. Postelnik?
I spoke specifically with Dr. Postelnik, excuse me. But I was advised about the etching on the victim's teeth.
At this point, and I guess we're into August 5th or so, did you contact Roger Ackerson and Jason Ackerson about Laura's body?
Yes.
And what was the purpose of contacting them?
I told them that I needed to have Laura's body brought back to Raleigh so that we could have our medical examiner, who was Dr. Radish at the time, examine the body. I needed consent from them in order for Texas to be able to do it.
And did you receive consent from them to have the body sent from Galveston, Texas, back to Raleigh?
Yes, sir.
After you had spoken with them, did you begin that process of trying to get the body back from Galveston to North Carolina?
Yes, sir.
And before you did that, at some point did you go to the Sheetz gas station in Wilson, where I believe you previously testified that you had attempted to acquire some video?
Yeah, I went back on August the 8th.
And did you acquire that video?
I did.
And is that from Friday, July 15th?
Correct.
And the information you had at that time was that the custody exchange between Laura and Amanda Grant Hayes was to occur on that Friday, July 15th.
Correct.
And it was supposed to occur at 5 o'clock.
Correct.
And so did you get the video between the hours that Laura and Grant should have exchanged the children?
Yes, sir.
That video, did it comprise, is it around 3 hours?
Yes, sir.
What time do you first, on that video, what time do you first see Grant Hayes?
4:29 and 15 seconds.
And what happens at that moment?
The camera records Grant walking into the gas station by himself. He's wearing a black t-shirt, dark colored jeans, white tennis shoes, a necklace, earrings, and a bracelet on his left wrist. Grant bought a pack of cigarettes from the front register. He walked out of the camera frame at 4:30 and 50 seconds.
And then later, do you see him come back in the picture carrying food items?
Yes.
And do you continue to see Grant Hayes there at that Sheetz gas station?
Yes.
And who is with him?
Grant Jr. and Gentle Rain, their 2 sons.
And at some point around 5 o'clock, do you see Grant Hayes go outside?
I'm at 5:04 and 1 second. He walks out of the camera frame, exiting the front door of the business with both of the boys.
And what's the next time that you see Mr. Hayes?
He's actually on the sidewalk camera at 5:04 and 6 seconds with the boys. They sat underneath an umbrella. Grant was talking on his phone. He basically comes back and forth at 5:20 and 21 seconds. He comes back in the front door. He exits again at 5:44 and 29 seconds. He walks towards the side door and exits at 5:46 and 50 seconds. And then he actually leaves the business. So at 5:47 and 8 seconds, Grant Hayes and his 2 sons are in the Durango pulling out of the parking lot, and you can see them on the camera exiting the parking lot.
And to be clear, in that video, do you see Amanda Hayes anywhere?
Amanda Hayes was not in the video.
So between, Grant Hayes' picture between 4:29 and 5:47.
Yes, 4:29 and 15 seconds, and 5:27 and 8 seconds.
5:27 or 5:47?
Excuse, 5:47 and 8 seconds, sorry.
Okay, so from 4:29 to 5:47.
Correct.
Okay. And you mentioned that during a period of that time, for some 10 or 12 minutes, Grant Hayes is outside, just standing there.
Yes, sir.
On August 9th, did you begin making arrangements for Laura's body to come back to North Carolina?
Yes,
And we've heard a little bit from Detective Witchard about how the body was put on the airplane. On August 16th, did you go to the airport?
I did.
And what was the purpose of you going to the airport?
Collect the remains of Laura Ackerson.
And what did you see there at the airport?
I was escorted down on the tarmac where I waited for a Continental flight to arrive from Texas. Plane arrived at gate D as in David 1 at approximately 4:45 in the evening. I took custody of Laura's body at 4:56 and signed the paperwork with Continental. I was assisted by an employee by the name of Claire Riley.
And then did you transport the body, or did someone transport the body to the medical examiner's office?
I did. I checked to make sure that the evidence seals were still sealed. The Ziegler case that it was in had not been tampered with. And then Brown Wynn transported the body, was driven by Mr. Jim Reeds and Al Wade. And I followed them all the way to the medical examiner's office in Chapel Hill, where we arrived at 5:27 in the evening. The body was placed in the cooler and marked by me at 5:35, and the cooler was locked.
And the cooler was locked, and that's where the medical examiner, Dr. Radish, would get the body from.
Correct.
At any point, did you see any tampering with the body, or anything touched or affected on the trip between the airport and the medical examiner's office?
Never.
Did that, after you, I guess, retain those records, did that conclude your investigation into this case?
Yes.
And Sergeant, I wanted to ask you about one thing. Yesterday, I believe you testified about a driver's license for Amanda Hayes.
Yes.
And did you do some more research to determine, look at that driver's license number?
I did.
And what did you find out?
The number that I wrote down in my report was either given to me wrong, or I wrote it down wrong, or I typed it wrong.
Okay.
But the number that's in my report is not correct
Okay.
for Amanda Hayes.
And so, do you know if Amanda Hayes has a North Carolina driver's license?
I did not have time to confirm or deny that. She may have one, she may not. I don't know. I just know that the number I wrote is not correct.
Okay, that goes back to some other person.
Correct.
And the number, could that have been her New York driver's license number?
No,
And how do you know at the time?
because New York driver's license has a different format that they do.
Sergeant, if I could direct your attention to your report, specifically page 245, the date stamp number at the top.
Okay.
On August 3rd, you mentioned to this jury that you were attempting to find the information about the purchase of a saw on the early morning hours of July 14th,
Correct.
and you're speaking to a person at Walmart.
Yes.
Did you learn that someone else had already requested that material?
Yes.
And who was that person?
Randy Miller.
And is he a private investigator?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Was he Do you know who he was working for?
Amanda Hayes.
Sustained. Sustained. No concern of that.
Nothing further.
I just have a few things, Your Honor.
Okay,
Somebody pass those witnesses.
all right.
Yeah, those witnesses.
Sure.
Detective Latour, we've had discussion yesterday and this morning about Amanda's North Carolina driver's license.
Okay.
You indicated this morning that there was some confusion about whether there was or was not.
I just have, the number that I've written down is not correct. That's all I can tell you. Whether she has a North Carolina license or not, I can't.
When she was arrested on July 25th, the Raleigh Police Department generates an arrest report, does it not?
With CCBI you're talking about?
Well, somewhat, I'm not sure. Who produces the arrest report once she is actually physically arrested?
I'm not certain what you're talking about with the arrest report, but you got something, so I know that's,
Yeah,
yeah, this is with city, county.
Number 57, and ask you if you recognize that.
Yes, this is a sheet that's made up at CCBI.
And that was produced on the day that she was arrested, was it not? July 25th.
Yes,
Do you see that the identification that was obtained from her was a New York driver's license?
yes.
And would you read that number?
3649611185.
Let me also ask you to examine what I've marked as Defendant's Exhibit number 58 and ask you if you can identify that document.
Appears to be a DCI printout. Searched for a driver's license number on July the 12th of 2011 till present time, so I don't know when it was searched actually.
And the driver's license that was found was the New York driver's license. Is that not correct?
Correct.
And you look at the numbers match, don't they?
Correct.
Let me ask you all to examine what I've marked as Defendant's Exhibit number 59 and ask you if you can identify that document.
To be honest with you, I've never seen this document
Is
type
that
before.
a motor, report from the Department of Motor Vehicles? Or do you know?
I don't know.
You just don't know?
Yes, sir. I don't know.
That's all. Thank you, sir. You indicated that one of the places that you went, once you found that manual for that reciprocating skill saw, was to the Walmart,
Yes, sir.
and that was the one at Briar Creek,
Correct.
correct? And you saw on that video that Grant Hayes had purchased that reciprocating skill saw.
That is correct.
And he also purchased one pair of goggles, didn't he?
Correct.
You also indicated that you went to the Sheetz gas station down in Wilson to gather the video from July 15th.
Yes, sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
And on that video, Grant and the two boys were there, but Amanda was not there.
Correct.
Did you examine the telephone records, the record of the telephone calls that were being made back and forth while Grant was at the Sheetz station?
No, I did not have anything to do with the examination of telephone records. I was aware that he had contacted his mother, just from the fact that I was present when Grant's mom was interviewed. So I was told, or at least heard in the cursory of it, that he was talking to his mom at that time. But other than that, I don't have any idea who he's calling. That wasn't my responsibility to follow up on.
And the information that you have from your sources was that he was indicating that Laura had not shown up for the exchange with the boys.
Correct.
And when he left the sheet station, I believe you said at 5:47, is it your information that he returned to Raleigh?
I don't have any information as to where he went.
Thank you, sir. That's all I have.
All right, anything else?
May I approach the clerk?
You may.
Karen, may we approach?
Sure.
Your Honor, may I approach a witness?
We'll do that later.
Thank you. Sergeant, I hand you has been marked as State's Exhibit A79. Does appear to be a phone record?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And flipping to July, does appear to be a phone record for a number listed as 744-7651.
Yes.
And flipping to July 15th, you mentioned that Sheets video shows Grant Hayes at the Sheets around 5 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay. On that date at 5:01 p.m., does it display that 7651 number calls that 8581 number?
Yes.
And does it indicate that phone call is around 1 minute and 15 seconds?
Yes.
At 5:05 p.m. on July 15th, does it indicate that 8581 number then calls that 7651 number?
Yes.
Does it show that phone call is around 3 minutes and 26 seconds?
Yes.
And later at the next phone call on this July 15th record, is that at 7:21 p.m.?
Yes.
And again, is that a phone call from that 8581 number to the 7651 number?
Yes.
And is that 52 seconds?
Yes.
Just to be clear on that video, the Grant Hayes is there with the two boys.
Yes.
The infant, that little girl Lily, she's not pictured in that video.
She's not there.
And while Grant Hayes is at that Sheets, he makes several purchases,
Yes.
and cigarettes or something along those lines.
Got some drinks. I think he got some snack items for the boys.
Nothing further on.
Anything else?
Just briefly,
Okay.
Mr. Zellinger asked you about the telephone number ending with the digits 8581.
Mhm.
And you indicated that the telephone with the digit ending 7651 had called the 851 number at 501.
You're gonna have to show me the thing again for me to be able to say, I know those are numbers, but
May I approach?
yeah. Oh, sorry.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you see here call number 127 at 501
Yes, sir.
from 744-7651
Yes.
to 744-8581?
Yes, sir.
To your knowledge, is the 8581 number that was in the possession of Amanda?
To be honest with you, at this point, I don't recall who had the phone. I know that at one time it was listed as Grant's number, but I don't know who had that phone at that time. I didn't really deal with the phone records at all.
At any rate, it indicates that he's calling someone who's not in his presence.
I can't say that somebody's not in his presence. He's calling somebody. I don't know where that person's at.
Okay. The next call was back from 8581 to 7651.
Yes, sir.
3 minutes and 26 seconds.
Yes, sir.
Anywhere during the video that you observed, did you see anyone standing there with Grant
No, sir.
calling him back and forth
No, sir.
on the video?
The only person that was with him, standing with him, was Du Bois.
Would that indicate to you that they're in two different locations?
Indicate they're not in the camera frame.
That's all.
All right, anything else? Okay, thank you. You may stand down, Sergeant Latour. Call your next witness, please.
State Hall's J.T. Schneider.
Okay. Mr. Snyder, if you'd be sworn, please. There's a Bible right here. If you just put your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand, face the clerk, please.
Please answer the question you just saw. You refuse the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. I do. Thank you.
You may proceed.
Mr. Schneider, could you state your name for the record?
Yes, sir. It's John T. Snyder.
And how are you employed?
I'm an investigator for the County of Fort Bend County, Texas.
And what kind of investigations do you do?
Now I am assigned to the investigations of environmental crimes through the County Attorney's Office.
And what sort of, when you say environmental crimes, what sort of investigations does that entail?
This particular unit specializes in anything from illegal dumping to hazardous waste to toxic releases.
And back in, well, how long have you conducted that job for the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office?
I've been in that position 7.5 years.
Back in July of 2011, were you involved with as an investigator for the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office?
Not with the Sheriff's Office, but with the County Attorney, yes.
With the county attorney, I apologize. So what happens with your investigations of dumping or illegal environmental activity? Where do those cases go?
It depends on the severity of the case, but they're prosecuted like any other penal code violation.
Okay. And back in July of 2011, did you become aware of an investigation that was occurring with some body parts being located in near Katy, Texas?
Yes, sir, I was.
Okay. And did you hear about them in your office or via the media?
Everything. It was quite the stir.
Okay. Now, after that, on July 22nd, did you have occasion to check a camera?
Yes, sir, I did.
And can you explain to the jury, do you have cameras located throughout the county?
Yes, sir, I do.
And what is the purpose of those cameras?
In our investigation of illegal dumping, we have locations that are in rural and semi-rural areas, that are frequented where people dump illegally. We put these areas under surveillance with automatic cameras, and we go and collect those film. Actually, it's memory, digital cameras, and we review those for violations.
And what do these cameras look like?
They're the deer trail cameras. You can get them from basically any outdoor store.
Has there been a problem with illegal dumping on Skinner Lane?
Yes, sir.
And is this where on Skinner Lane is the problem with illegal dumping?
This particular location is at it's now a dead end just prior to Highway 99.
And where is the camera located in that area of Skinner Lane?
Right at the dead end, at the turnaround.
Our map published states it at 32.
All right.
Actually, it states it at 32. Is this a map of this area of Texas near where Karen Berry's house and where that end of Skinner Lane is?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, and I guess moving towards the northern end of this picture, is that the dead end of Skinner Lane?
Yes, sir, it is.
And what road is this?
That's Highway 99.
Zooming in on this dead end, I believe there's a laser pointer up there. Looks like a pen. It's got a button on the side.
Yes, sir.
Could you point to where the camera is located at this end of Skinner Lane?
Yes, sir. It's right off to the right here.
And what does it look out on?
It looks back towards the roadway and the far side of the curve. So it sits here and it covers this particular portion of the roadway.
Now, is that camera concealed or is it able to be seen?
It's out in the open. It's in a large metal box that duplicates a cable junction box.
And when you say it duplicates the cable junction box, what does a cable junction box look like?
Just a large gray metal box.
Okay.
Mhm.
And you mentioned that it's like a deer camera. How is it activated?
By motion.
And so it automatically takes pictures when there's motion in front of it?
Yes, sir. These cameras, you can set them to take a series of pictures from 1 to, I think it's 9 maximum every time it's activated.
This camera that was at the end of Skinner Lane, was that in use back in July of 2011?
Yes, sir, it was.
And how long had that camera, do you know how long that camera had been out at the end of Skinner Lane?
There has been a camera there. Matter of fact, I installed it right after getting with the unit. So and there's still one there today. So it's been there almost a little over 6 years.
And have you used that camera in different investigations?
Regularly, yes.
And was it operating properly back in July of 2011?
Yes, sir.
How often would you go to check the camera for pictures?
As often as every other day to as frequently as once a week.
And when you go to that camera, when you would go to that camera, how would you get the pictures off of the camera?
What I would do is remove the camera from the enclosure and exchange the memory. It's a SD card, if you're familiar with the same thing that goes in a digital camera. Replace the card actually, and take that card in and review it on my laptop computer.
Now, back on July 22nd of 2011, did you see a truck in one of the pictures that you had taken off of that camera?
Yes, sir, I did.
And did you run a license plate on that truck?
Yes, sir.
And did it come back to, or who did it come back to?
In the particular photo I had, that particular license plate, there was one character that was blurred, and it came back to one of two license plates, one of which was registered to Sheldon Berry, and the other one was coming out of an older pickup truck out of McAllen, Texas.
And the license tag that was associated with, was it Shelton Berry and Candace Rowland? Were both of them listed on that license tag?
Yes, sir. Sheldon Berry and Candace Rowland, 4336 Skinner.
At that point, had you been aware of the investigation going on at that location on Skinner Road?
Just by media.
At some point, after you got that information, did you download the media from that camera and take the pictures off of the SD card?
What my normal procedure is I review all the pictures. It could be anywhere from 400 to 500 photos. If I see a violation, then I download for preservation that particular series of photos and then proceed with the investigation.
So if someone gets lost and just makes a U-turn at the end of the street, that would activate the camera and you'd see the car turning around?
Joggers, coyotes, just about anything goes in front of that camera.
Okay. But if you see the illegal dumping activity, then at that point you download the pictures?
Correct.
Okay. Your Honor, can I approach a witness?
You may.
Schneider, I show you what's been marked for identification purposes. It states Exhibit 562 through 572. Do you recognize those pictures?
Yes, sir, I do.
And if you could go through there, are those pictures that you retrieved off of that camera back on July 22nd of 2011?
These are them, yes.
And are these pictures, were they captured on that camera on July 20th of 2011?
Yes, sir.
And does that camera record the date on the photographs?
Yes, it gives the date, the time, and actually the temperature in the camera.
Okay. And so on these pictures, states Exhibit 562, for instance, is that from July 20th of 2011 at 9:12 a.m.?
Yes, sir, it is.
And is it recorded that it was 93 degrees outside?
Correct.
Okay. And then are there several photographs from July 20th at 10 a.m., 10:03 a.m.?
Correct.
And states Exhibit 563 through 572, are these all photographs that are taken in 2 minutes between 10:03 a.m. on July 20th and 10:05 a.m. on July 20th?
Correct.
Okay, and at that point, the temperature is around 99 to 100 degrees.
Correct.
Now, this time, I move into evidence states Exhibit 562 through 572.
None be received.
Your Honor, asked to publish these at this time.
You may.
And before I show you these pictures, how do you know the setting for which how often the pictures would be taken over the minutes that this camera was activated?
The spacing in between pictures is actually set by the manufacturer. It's usually just a few seconds. And then the camera takes a minute to reset between series.
Okay. So it takes a series of pictures and then it takes a minute for it to reset.
Correct.
I'll show you, I believe Stacy did at 562. Eric, approach please.
You may.
And is that one of those pictures that was activated from that camera on July 20th at 9:12 a.m.?
Correct.
I'll show you State's Exhibit 563. Sorry. Now I show you State's Exhibit 563. Is that truck that you mentioned that the registration tag came back to Shelton Berry and Candace Rowland?
Correct.
This is at 10:03 a.m. on July 20th.
Correct. The photo prior was the last photo of the previous set, so it showing that there was not an activation between those times.
And is this the next photograph, State's Exhibit 564?
Correct.
And does that truck appear to have a graphic on the side?
Yes, sir.
And this is at 10:03 and 50 seconds.
Yes, sir.
Actually, State's Exhibit 565. Again, can you see the license tag in this photograph?
Correct.
And do you see a sticker that appears on the top center of that truck?
Yes, sir.
And at 10:03 and 58 seconds is this State's Exhibit 566.
Yes, sir.
Actually, State's Exhibit 567. Does that appear to be at 10:04 and 1 second?
Correct.
Actually, State's Exhibit 568. In that image, do you see a blonde-haired individual?
Yes, sir.
Now, at some point, did you compare these pictures to a picture that you acquired of this defendant, Amanda Hayes?
Yes, sir.
And was that part of the reason that you seized these pictures and provided them to the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office and the Raleigh Police Department?
Eventually, that's correct.
And this is at 10:04 a.m. and 5 seconds on July 20th.
That's correct.
I show you State's Exhibit 569. This is at 10:04 and 9 seconds.
Times are correct. Mhm.
And what does this picture depict?
At this time, the sole occupant of the vehicle is opening the tailgate of the truck.
And I show you State's Exhibit 570. Do you see that person in this image appear to be holding something?
Yes, sir. It appears that they're unloading the back of the truck at this point.
I show you State's Exhibit 571. Is this from 10:04 a.m. on July 20th?
Yes.
16 seconds. Does it appear that there's brown cardboard boxes being taken out?
Yes, sir. From this particular angle, you can see the National Fire emblem for corrosive on those boxes, and they are cardboard boxes in appearance.
Our coverage, clerk.
You may.
And to be clear, this exhibit says Exhibit 571. This is at 10:04 a.m. and 16 seconds.
Correct.
And then the next picture states Exhibit 572. Is that at 10:05 and 30 seconds?
Correct.
So that's nearly a minute later.
This is the first photo of the next series after the camera went through that minute reset.
Okay, so the camera took State's exhibits. The first picture that we saw was State's Exhibit 562, and that was of some other truck at the end of that street.
Correct.
And then the camera took State's Exhibits 563 through 571 between 10:03 a.m. and 46 seconds and 10:04 and 16 seconds.
Correct.
And then the camera has to reset before it can take more pictures.
Correct.
And this is the next picture.
Right. This is the first photo of the next series.
Going back to State's Exhibit 571. First of all, do you see any blood oozing down the person's leg in this picture?
Not from this picture, no.
Moving forward to State's Exhibit 572. In the tree line, does there appear to be those brown cardboard boxes?
Yes.
I guess jumping back to State's Exhibit 571, looking under this tree, do you see those brown cardboard boxes?
No.
And then in State's Exhibit 572, do they appear there?
Yes, they do.
Now, after you got these pictures off of the camera, did you go out to this location to see if these objects were there?
Yes, sir. As soon as I pulled them, I did not connect them to this particular suspect or defendant at this time. I was more concerned about the corrosive emblem that was on the box, thinking that, again, someone had taken something out there that was hazardous. I immediately went out there and crawled under the trees to find out what it was.
You can go back to State's Exhibit 570 and 571. Did you compare the picture that you had of Amanda Hayes, the defendant in this case, with the picture that the jury's looking at now?
Yes, sir, I did. Actually did that on the 26th.
And did they appear consistent?
Oh, absolutely.
Can I approach the clerk?
You may.
Professor, I'll show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 215, 216, 217, and 218. Are these all photographs of what you found underneath that tree?
Yes, sir, they are.
And do they fairly and accurately depict what you saw on July 22nd of 2011 when you looked under that tree?
Correct, absolutely.
And I'll show you State's Exhibit 219, 220, and 221. Those all depict what you saw. What did you do with these materials after you took them from under the tree?
In the first series of pictures is how I found them. At that point, I recovered them, not realizing they were part of a larger case. I was just concerned about the fact that they were acid. I got them out of the scene, took them back to our office, and then took detailed photos of what was recovered.
Your Honor, at this time I move to enter State's Exhibit 215 through 221.
Let them be received.
May I publish those, Your Honor?
You may. You may.
Mr. Gary, I'll show you what's been entered as State's Exhibit 215. Is this the item that you found under that tree?
The one of four.
And I guess going from State's Exhibit 215 back to State's Exhibit 270, this picture in State's Exhibit 215, could you point to where this is located in State's Exhibit 270?
This is the tree, and the boxes were on to the right and to the left of the tree.
I show you State's Exhibit 572. In this picture, can you see them obscured by the tree?
I'm sorry?
Can you see those boxes sort of obscured by the tree?
Yes, you can see especially the one to the right. And if I may,
Oh, sorry.
there and there.
And going back to State's Exhibit 215, those boxes you found, were they labeled muriatic acid?
Yes, sir, they were, both in English and Spanish.
Show you State's Exhibit 216. This is, I guess, to the left of where that last picture was taken.
Correct.
Was that box also labeled muriatic acid?
Yes, sir. The boxes were all identically marked. And on the broadside, it had the symbol for corrosive.
This is States Exhibit 217, are those boxes as you found them underneath that tree?
Yes, sir.
And this, when you found them, was on July 22nd?
Yes, sir.
And when they appeared in these States Exhibits where the blonde woman is pulling those boxes out of the truck, that was on July 20th, is that right?
On the photos, correct.
I'll show you States Exhibit 218, is that again just another view of those boxes underneath the tree?
Right. That's just a different angle.
I'll show you States Exhibit 219, what is this a picture of?
This is the close-up of the warnings that are actually on the individual containers. There were 2 containers per box. 4 containers were found. One of the boxes only had 1 container. This is showing the size and the warnings that are labeled on each one.
I'll show you States Exhibit 220. Is that the label that you found on those boxes?
That is the label on the individual bottles.
Okay, and how many bottles were inside each box?
2 bottles per box. 1 box only had 1 bottle.
Okay. And again, this is labeled muriatic acid.
Correct. By Texas statute, in an investigation of toxic or hazardous waste, this is the type of evidence we have to collect.
And this is States Exhibit 221. After you saw those boxes underneath the tree and in the wood line there, did you collect all those boxes?
Yes, sir, I did.
And there were 4 boxes, and 3 of the boxes had 2 bottles in it, and 1 of the boxes had 1 bottle in it.
Yes, 3 were full and 1 had just 1 bottle. So that's the total. 7 bottles, 4 boxes.
The 7 bottles that were in those boxes, had those been opened or did they appear full?
They all appeared full. For fear of spillage, I didn't open each and every one of them. I wanted to keep them intact for safety purposes.
And did you take those items into evidence and provide them to Detective Witchard with the Sheriff's Office?
I did take them into our evidence, and then I released them directly to their forensics crime lab, yes,
Okay.
through Detective Richard, correct.
Okay. I guess, at this point, after you pulled the camera footage and you'd gone out there and actually acquired the acid, you mentioned that you passed the acid on to investigators with the Sheriff's Office. What else did you do as part of this investigation?
As far as the hazardous waste chemical investigation, our investigation at this time is actually on hold pending the outcome of this this trial.
Okay, and so you'd become aware that there was a murder charge involved in this case?
Yes, sir.
And so you first go out there and acquire the pictures, and that leads you back out to the end of Skinner Lane to acquire the acid, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And after you've done that, you recognize at some point that there's Amanda Hayes' picture looks very similar and is similar to the person depicted in here.
When I pulled those photos and realized the address of the registration of the truck, the address was on the news, I simply went to the internet and found a booking photo of Miss Hayes and pulled it up, and the hair, the tank top, everything matched the scene pictures, with the exception of the tank top was a different color.
And when you went out there originally to pull the camera footage, you didn't recognize that there were those boxes under the tree, did you?
At that time, there were some logs out there. I didn't think to look under the tree. No, sir.
All right, any questions?
No, sir, I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you, officer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
You may call your next witness.
At this time, the state would call Shannon Quick to stand.
Okay, all right. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you state your name, please?
Shannon Quick.
And how are you employed?
I am a senior agent at the City County Bureau of Identification.
And this jury has previously heard about the duties and responsibilities of CCBI and how you assist local law enforcement officers with processing scenes. In this particular case involving the murder of Laura Ackerson, what role did you play?
I was the primary case agent on this case.
And what does it mean to be the primary case agent with CCBI?
Then I'm in charge and responsible for examination of any evidence that could be collected either by myself or other agents involved.
And do you also assist with making decisions in conjunction with law enforcement about what items need to be sent further to the state crime lab for any further analysis?
Yes.
And previously, this jury has heard about involvement by Tracy Tremlin and Mike Galloway, both of CCBI. They were involved in various aspects of this case. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And the information that was seized as a result of their efforts being evidence as well as processing, did that all come to you as the lead case agent?
Yes, it did.
When did you first become involved in this case itself?
On July 20th of 2011.
And at that point, had the victim's car already been located and processed by Tracy Tremlin?
Yes, it had.
And what specifically were you asked to do in terms of assisting law enforcement?
On this particular day, it was still a missing person case, and I was just requested to help Raleigh Police Detective search the Hayes' apartment.
And at that time, was this, you indicated, was still a missing persons case?
Yes.
And the Hayes' apartment, was that 4021 Bella Park Trail, apartment 322?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you in fact go to that location with detectives from the Raleigh Police Department on the 20th?
Yes, I did.
And were you able to determine why this apartment had any significance at that point?
I was advised that Ms. Ackerson had been at this apartment shortly before her disappearance.
And did you know at that point that the location where Ms. Ackerson's car had been recovered was in a neighboring apartment complex?
Yes.
Did you understand that the 4021 Bella Park Trail was the home of Grant Hayes, Amanda Hayes, also 3 young children?
Yes.
And when you went into the apartment, who else was there with you, do you recall?
Detective Falk and Detective Hall.
And this apartment was that part of a larger building?
Yes, it was.
And what floor was this apartment located
On the 3rd floor.
on? And when you went into the apartment, can you describe the first steps that you took?
When I first walked in the apartment, we kind of made general overall observations of the apartment to get the feel of what we're looking at and looking for.
And did that involve basically going through the whole apartment and kind of seeing how it was laid out
Yes, it did.
and noticing the condition of the apartment?
Yes.
And what specifically did you notice with regard to the condition of this apartment on July the 20th?
The overall condition of the apartment was neat and tidy. There was some areas that were of interest to me on the floor and the carpet in the living room and the hallways.
And as part of this investigation, did you participate in kind of doing a layout of that apartment?
Yes.
And you had mentioned a moment ago that this was on the third floor of this apartment building. Do you recall how you actually would get to that third floor apartment, whether or not there was an elevator or stairs?
I walked upstairs,
Did you notice any elevator in the area?
not that I'm aware of.
Jeremy, I'm first witness.
You may.
Agent Quick, I am showing you what has previously been introduced into evidence in this trial, State's Exhibit number 62. Do you recognize that?
I do.
And what is State's Exhibit number 62?
It's the floor plan of the apartment.
And is this, would this assist you in describing your testimony about what you observed in this apartment on July the 20th of 2011?
Yes, it would.
May Agent Quick step down just briefly?
She may. So,
Agent Quick, I'm going to stand here and hold this up and ask you to point out to the jury, if you would, the front door of this apartment, how you entered it.
This is the front door right here, and I walked in through this little foyer area.
And when you walked in the front door and kind of through the foyer area, what room were you in at that point?
This was the dining area.
Okay, and was there furniture that was located in the dining area when you went in?
Yes, there was.
And did that, a table and chair and things like that?
Yes.
And from the dining area, does it actually open into another room?
It opens up into the big living room here.
And are there sliding glass doors as part of the living room?
Yes, they are, located right here.
And they open out into a deck?
Yes.
And does that overlook a parking lot area, the deck?
Yes, it does.
Now, off the living room, was there a bedroom that was located off the living room?
There's a bedroom off to the left of the living room there.
And was there a bath that also was located off of that bedroom?
Yes, there's an adjoining bath right here.
And in order to get into the bedroom that was located off the living room, would you actually have to go through the living room?
Yes.
And the bath that was associated with that bedroom, was there only one way to enter that?
Yes, it was through a door here, and you could get in also through the closet that was adjoining to that bedroom.
But in order to get to that bathroom, you'd actually have to go through the bedroom that was there?
Yes.
Now, you had mentioned that when you came in the foyer area that through the front door, was there a washer and dryer located in that area?
Yes, there was. It was right to the left of the front door.
And the foyer area that you walked into, how was the flooring in that area?
It was some sort of either linoleum or tile.
And the rest of the apartment, what was the flooring situation?
With the exceptions of the bathroom, I think the kitchen, it was all carpeted.
And leading off the dining room, in order to get to the kitchen, how would you go?
You would just take it right here is the kitchen area. Have like half counters around it.
So if you were standing in the kitchen, looking into the dining room, that's not a full wall, it's just kind of a half counter?
Yes.
And moving kind of down the hall, there's an area that's marked desk. Can you describe that area?
It was sort of a little nook off of the hallway right there that had a desk in it.
And do you recall what types of things were located in that area?
Paper items and cords.
And kind of before we move down the hall, did you actually go into the bedroom that was located off the living room?
I did. I went into this bedroom here.
Okay, and can you describe how that appeared to be used? What kind of furniture or items were in there?
It appeared to be used more as an office or a junk room. There was a large desk along this wall. It was a changing table and several boxes in that room.
And then moving kind of down this hallway, can you describe what you came to next?
To my left, as I walked down, there was a bedroom here and a second bedroom and then a bathroom, a full-size bathroom on my right.
And in terms of these bedrooms, were they appear to be used actually as bedrooms? I mean, did they have a bed and that type of thing in them?
Yes, they did.
And in terms of, this layout, then this was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, apartment,
Yes.
and at least 2 of the bedrooms appear to be actually being used as bedrooms.
Yes.
And this was, the 2nd bath that was located here off the hall.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ada Quick, you had indicated that there were 2 areas that drew your attention when you came into the apartment. Can you describe those?
The first area that drew my attention was just as I walked in the front door, to the right on the carpet was a very large discoloration in the carpet that appeared to be where bleach or something else was spilt or soaked into the carpet. There was a similar area, about the same color, right at the door frame of that hallway bathroom to the right as I walked down the hallway.
And with regard to your initial walkthrough, did you note anything in particular with regard to that hallway bath?
It wasn't set up as a bathroom. There was not a trash can or a shower curtain, any floor mats. There was a couple bottles of shampoo, but that was about it in that bathroom.
And how did it compare to the bathroom that was located off that 1st bedroom that was being used more as an office area?
It was very clean and very empty.
And that being the hall bath.
Yes, ma'am.
How about the other bathroom?
The other bathroom off the office area was cluttered. It had curling irons and regular bathroom items, toys, shampoos, conditioners, a shower curtain, a trash can, that sort of thing.
As part of this going through the apartment, did you photograph the various rooms of the apartment?
I did.
And on this occasion, being July the 20th of 2011, did you collect any items of evidence from that apartment?
I did.
And can you describe, if you would, what items that you collected on this day?
On that particular day, I collected a comforter, some pillows and pillowcases, a couple sheets, and a mattress cover from the bedroom across from the hallway, a vacuum cleaner, a broom, and a handwritten document.
And where did you collect the handwritten document from?
It was from the counter in the kitchen area.
And during the course of going through this apartment on the 20th, did you notice a maroon colored vacuum cleaner?
I did.
And where was it located?
It was located in the corner of the living room by those sliding glass doors.
And was that something that you collected that day?
I did.
Did you, you indicated you photographed, you collected these various items. Did you also process this area, this apartment on this day?
I did some basic processing in the bathroom.
Okay, and which bathroom are you referring to?
I'm sorry, the hall bathroom.
And can you describe what processing you did?
Besides the visual examination where I found that there was no shower curtain or trash can or anything, I used an alternate light source to help in the possibility of detecting any blood that might be on the floor.
And was there any blood that was visible to the naked eye?
No, ma'am.
And you said you used an alternate light source. Does that assist you in detecting blood that's not visible to the naked eye?
It's possible what the alternate light source will absorb, and the blood could look black or a very dark color.
And did you note any blood when you used this alternate light source?
No, ma'am.
Did you spray any chemicals or do any chemical analysis on that day, July the 20th?
No, ma'am.
So your examination with regard to looking for blood was with your eyes and then with this alternate light source?
Yes.
And did you examine any other areas of the apartment for blood?
I did.
And And did you see any blood in the apartment?
No, ma'am.
Did you indicated you took photographs. You want me to approach the witness?
You may.
Agent Quick, I'm handing you what has been marked for identification purposes, the state's exhibits 278 and 279 and 282. I'm also showing you what's been marked for identification purposes, the state's exhibits A449 through A6, I'm sorry, through A469. Could you take a moment and look at those?
You may.
Do you recognize these exhibits?
I do.
Are they photographs that were taken of the apartment there at Bella Park Trail?
Yes, ma'am.
And would they assist you in illustrating your testimony with regard to what you observed?
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, the state would move to introduce into evidence State's Exhibits 278, 279, 282, and State's Exhibits A449 through A469.
Let me receive.
You know, at this time, I would ask permission to publish these.
You may.
Agent Quick, on the screen is what has been introduced into evidence, the State's Exhibit A449. Do you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you explain to the jury what you're seeing in this photograph?
This is a view of the living room and dining area as I walked into the front door of the apartment.
And to your right, does that appear to be a table and chair?
Yes, ma'am.
And it appear to have art supplies and various things like that on
Yes.
top of the table? Are you able to see the vacuum cleaner that you observed, the maroon vacuum cleaner, when you came into the apartment and later collected it?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you point that out?
Vacuum cleaner's right there.
And was that the position in which it was located at the time that you went in?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you recover or see any other vacuum cleaners in that apartment?
No.
There appears to be a rug in the living room area. Do you see that?
Yes.
And it's black with kind of tan border.
Yes.
Was it in that location when you arrived there in the apartment?
Yes, it was.
And there appear to be some places on the carpet where perhaps some furniture had been. Is that how it existed when you came in?
Yes, it was.
And are you able to point out that desk area in this photograph as you described earlier?
The desk area is right in this little nook right here is where the desk is at.
And are you able to see the kitchen area and down the hall from this vantage point?
Portions of it, yes.
Okay, what can you see?
This right here is the kitchen counter where the sink would be over a little bit here. There's another little half counter here. This is the hallway leading to the other bedrooms and the hall bathroom.
And this photograph, again, is taken from right as you walk into the foyer of this apartment.
Yes.
State's Exhibit A450. Is this just a closer up of that vacuum cleaner that you collected?
Yes, it is.
And next to that is the sliding glass doors that go out onto the deck, is
Yeah.
that right?
Yes.
State's Exhibit A, 451, what's shown in this photograph?
In this photograph, I've actually have my back to the sliding glass doors, and I'm looking towards the kitchen area, the dining area, and the front door.
State's Exhibit A, 452, what's shown in this photograph?
This is the kitchen area.
And you indicated earlier that you recovered a paper writing as part of your processing and search on this date being July the 20th.
Yes.
And where was that recovered from?
It was right in this pile of paperwork here.
And is that how that appeared when you first came in, before moving any of that paperwork?
Yes, that's how it appeared to me.
Is that what you do, basically photograph the apartment before anything's been moved?
Yes.
State's Exhibit A 453 is on the screen. Can you describe what's being shown in this photograph?
This is the bar area of the kitchen again, where the handwritten document was collected, and you can see it right here.
And so there are other papers and maybe a magazine or comic book that appear to be on top of that paper writing?
Yes.
And was it actually, at the time that you saw it, that paper writing actually sticking out a little bit like it is in this photograph?
Upon my arrival, it was, yes.
State's Exhibit A 454. Again, kind of a closer up of that writing.
Yes, ma'am.
And State's Exhibit A 455, at this point, have you actually pulled that writing out somewhat?
Yes.
And that item appears in this photograph. It's previously been introduced, but it has Laura Ackerson, the name at the bottom. It's a handwritten document.
Yes.
And the photograph A 454, is there on the top of that stack of papers, does that appear to be something from Chick-fil-A, or does it have the Chick-fil-A insignia on it?
It does.
State's Exhibit A 458, can you describe what's shown in this photograph?
This photograph is actually the bedroom in the hallway that's across from the bathroom, that hall bathroom. That appears to be used as a bedroom.
And it, during the course of examining this room, there appears not to be a comforter or sheets on the bed. Is that how it was when you came in?
Yes.
And did you locate a comforter and sheet in that room?
Yes, I did.
And where was it located?
They were located in a closet.
Were you able to tell if there were adult clothes in this room, male and female?
Yes, there were.
And was the drawers and the closets, do they still have clothing in them?
Yes, as I recall.
State's Exhibit A 457. What's shown in this photograph?
That's looking in the closet. That's the comforter I found.
And that's in that same bedroom that we just looked at?
Yes.
The one that's right directly across from the bathroom in the hall?
Yes.
And did you remove that comforter and take photographs of what was underneath it?
I did.
State Exhibit A 456. Is this that photograph?
Yes.
And what's depicted in this photograph?
Those are the sheets that I found under the comforter.
And they again are in the closet floor?
Yes.
This is states A459. Can you describe what you're photographing here?
This is in that hall bathroom that I described earlier, and it's actually a mount where a shower curtain rod's supposed to be.
And was there a rod in that bathroom when you examined it on July the 20th?
No, ma'am.
Was there a shower curtain anywhere in that bathroom?
No, ma'am.
And is this the bathroom that you described as being clean?
Yes.
Can you actually see the flash of the light on the tile
Yes.
in that room?
Yes, ma'am.
State's Exhibit A463, do you see that?
Yes.
And what are you showing in this, or what are you illustrating in this photograph?
This is the hall bathroom. I'm showing the bathtub and the toilet area.
And A462?
That's the inside of the bathtub.
And at the time that you went into that hall bathroom, you've indicated there was no shower curtain. Were there any bath mats,
No,
any trash cans?
not that I recall.
Did you have an opportunity to look into the linen closet in that bathroom?
I did.
And what did you observe with regard to what was in that?
There were a few towels, hand towels, and washcloths.
State's Exhibit A460 is on the screen. What's shown here?
This is the living room area,
And the door that's to the left, what does that lead to?
the other bedroom.
And this is the one that you described as being used like an office area?
Yes.
State's Exhibit A461. What's shown in this photograph?
This is the second bathroom.
And so this is the bathroom that's located off that bedroom?
Yeah.
Off the living room?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so not the hall bathroom.
No, ma'am.
And what did you notice about this bathroom that you can point out here in this photograph?
It appears to be used as a bathroom. There's toilet paper and hair products, bath products, toys, linens in the closet,
Shower curtain?
a shower curtain.
And did this bathroom appear particularly clean to you?
Not as clean as the other one, the hall bath.
This is going back to that hall bathroom. Is this actually a picture of the linen closet?
Yes.
And was that how it appeared when you saw it?
Yes.
So the hand towels that are located there on the bottom shelf,
Yes.
did you note that there were washcloths with green stripes that were located, or towels with green stripes?
There was some sort of towel with the green stripes.
And this is the hall bathroom linen closet, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
This is State's Exhibit A467. What area are we looking at here?
This is the area of carpet that I described earlier that was just to my right as I walked in the front door.
And on this day, being July the 20th of 2011, did you at that time undertake to process this area in any way?
Not at that time, no.
So you just noted it and photographed it?
Yes.
At a later point, did you go back and actually collect that carpet and the carpet padding underneath that area?
I did.
Up on the screen is State's Exhibit 282. Is this the other area that drew your attention when you went inside the apartment on July the 20th?
Yes, it did.
And where was this located?
This is the doorway to that hall bathroom.
And why did you pay particular attention to that area?
It appeared to have the same discoloration as the carpet by the front door.
At a later date, did you also have the opportunity to cut out and collect this carpeting and the padding underneath?
Yes.
And what was the purpose in collecting the carpet and the padding underneath this area as well as that area by the front door?
We collected that because it was an unusual occurrence in that apartment. There was no other discolored carpets in the apartment, and we could test it further, submit it to the state crime lab for further testing.
You, on this day, were there any other items that you collected outside of the vacuum cleaner and the handwritten note?
The bedding and the mattress cover and a broom.
And why did you collect the mattress cover?
There was at least one area of interest on the bed, on the mattress cover, so we collected that for further testing.
Okay, and what do you mean when you say an area of interest?
There was an area on the bed that appeared to be brown, that appeared to me to be blood.
And how large an area, where was that located?
It was probably about the size of a nickel or a quarter, similar to that side, and it was towards the side of the bed. If you're standing at the foot of the bed, it's on the left side of the bed looking at the bed.
And that mattress cover was in place on the bed?
Yes.
In that master bedroom or the bedroom with the dogs?
Yes.
Clothing? The second bedroom down that hall, did that appear to be a child's bedroom?
It
or
did.
children's?
It did.
And is A466, is that a photograph of that children's bedroom at the end of that hallway?
Yes, ma'am.
And in that bedroom, were there also, were there toys and clothing that were located in that area?
Yes.
Did you note anything else of interest in that apartment on that day, July the 20th?
Nothing else was pointed out or brought to my attention on that particular day.
And when you say pointed out, brought to your attention, is that's something that happens with the detectives when you're going through a particular area?
Yes, we all search and we work together as a team to find areas of interest.
Did you return to this same apartment on August the 2nd of 2011?
I did.
And what was your purpose in returning to that apartment on that day?
On this particular day, it had turned into a homicide investigation, so we went back to the scene to further process it as a homicide.
And at that point, had Laura Ackerson's remains been found in Texas?
Yes.
And were you aware that Agent Galloway had been in that apartment on July the 25th and examined it with luminol and Blue Star?
I was aware he was in the apartment, yes.
And at some point you were aware that he had done some chemical processing of that apartment?
I was.
And what was your purpose in going back on August the 2nd? What was requested of you on that day?
They wanted some more chemical processing of the apartment and just a more in-depth and thorough search of the apartment that day.
And so what steps did you undertake on that day to further search or do a more in-depth search of that apartment?
I tell you what, it's almost 1:15. I think since you're moving into a new date and a new time, why don't we stop for lunch and we'll come back and pick it up after lunch. Take about an hour for lunch, folks. Haven't heard it all. Keep an open mind. Don't formally express any opinion about any matter in controversy. Be careful about your conduct. Follow my previous instructions, please. And we'll see everybody in about an hour, about 2:15. Thank you very much.